Yeah, where's the fog machine that you brought in?
I don't know where this came from, but it's lovely Southern California. It was like this Saturday down on this section. So driving home, we ran into this. So
Is this good prep for Corvallis?
yeah, Corvallis was good. I don't think Corvallis will be like what we had this past Saturday, but it looks like it's supposed to be mid-60s, and it's a fun place to play.
So looking at the film, what was kind of your takeaways from that second viewing of the game?
I thought our defense played outstanding. And I think the effort that whole group displayed throughout the entire game, and it was at all levels. I think the back end played really well. In terms of coverage against some really good receivers, and I thought our guys did a great job containing a very mobile quarterback, because Cam had presented a lot of problems for most people with his feet, but he was a guy that scrambles to throw. That's when a lot of their big plays occurred, especially in the first 4 games. So they did a good job of containing the quarterback. Obviously shut down the run game, kind of made him a one-dimensional operation. And so defensively, really, really impressed with the effort and what our guys did.
Piggybacking off of that, because I asked Carl after the game about, playing against quarterbacks who can extend plays, especially, how last year went, some of those games. What do you, attribute the improvements?
I think, number one, it's the players. I think there's a lot of those guys on that side of the ball. And we've talked about it before that are in year 2 of those Darius, the Murphs, Latu, Gary Smith, some of those guys. Carl's improvement as a player. I think you watch how he's developed here. I thought CBS gave us some really good work. We got a little bit more speed on the field to contain him like that. And then I thought Dan and our coaching staff put in a really good scheme to contain a really good players.
You made a change at Holworth or kicks. What went into that?
Just the work that those guys do during the week, and it's a lot more convenient for a punter/kicker to be the holder. So I think everybody in the NFL does it that way. Just the practice time that those guys have, they can do a ton of work between while we're in individual drills. We're doing 7-on-7, we're doing 11-on-11. So Blake is a tremendous athlete. He may be one of the better athletes on this football team. He could play wide receiver for us. He could play DB for us. He's a really talented player. So just trying to exploit some of his athleticism. Because the biggest thing with a holder is if the play breaks down, what do? And that's sometimes I think the issue when you don't want to have a kicker or a punter be the holder, because if the play breaks down, what you can do. But I think with Blake, if for some reason there was an errant snap where the play broke down, that he could do something with it because of his athleticism.
I can't help but notice it is 4 games into the season. Is Ethan redshirting?
We haven't talked about that yet.
What have you talked to about the backup quarterbacks now? Clearly Dante's, the starter. What have been your conversations?
I think they're one chin strap away from helping us win football games. So every single guy in that room is preparing like they're the starter, because you have no idea, when your opportunity is going to come and what's going to happen in those situations. So, Ethan's awesome. Ethan prepares every day like he's going to be the starter. I think we get, because of the way we train and the reps that we get, he does a really good job, in terms of taking advantage of the experiences that we're giving him on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And if he went in a game for us, I'd be really excited about what he can do for us. We're talented at that position.
What's your overall assessment of the job Jonathan Smith's done up at Oregon State?
Jonathan's done an unbelievable job up there. I think you look at last year, I think they were a 10-win team, in double digits up there. They're tough, they're physical, they run the ball really, really well. His signature's all over that program. I'm really impressed with, what he took over and where he took it. He was there as a player and was a great player. And, in bowl games when he was there as a quarterback, and then he's got them back to where he was playing. So it's impressive. One of the top teams in the country for a reason.
Oregon State's ground game seems to be their offensive strength. Do you agree with that? And what challenges they present?
I think their whole offense is a strength. They just put 52 on a really good Cal defense, and Justin Wilcox and Peter Sherman can coach defense, and they were rolling in that game. They put 35 on Washington State, in a loss, their only loss of the season, but they're balanced. I think DJ's playing really, really well. I think their play action game off of their run game is something that you really got to be prepared for, because you just can't gang up on the run game. They got speed at receiver, You know, that they can stretch it and get down the field. So it's a complete offense, and you have to defend everything. You have to defend the run. You have to defend the pass. You have to defend really talented wideouts. They got a bunch of tight ends that they roll through there. So, you know, to be distinctly different than what we saw last week in the Washington State game. You know, this is big boy football.
You know, obviously, you know, the opponent personnel, that's different, but going back on the road, what can the offense maybe draw from that experience at Utah that may be able to...
Yeah, I don't think there's anything you draw. You're playing a different team, so we're not spending any time looking at Utah tape. We're talking about the Utah game. We're talking about, you know, Oregon State's defense, and that better have your full attention because they're really good on the defensive side of the ball. There's a reason they're successful. They're really good at special teams, really good on defense, and really good on offense. So our sole focus and attention is on who we're playing this week.
You got a guy having to sit out first half because of targeting. How hard is that to lose a guy like that?
Just is what it is. There's nothing we can really do about it, and it's just, you know, I feel for him, but it was a targeting call, and he's out. So, you know, just deal with it and get him ready to play in the second half.
Being able to get so much pressure with 3 and 4 against Washington State, which had been such a, you know, previously pretty potent offense, how much of that is replicable? How much of that, in terms of your thinking about game planning for a game, do you count on that being replicable against an Oregon State or so on down the road?
You know, I think each week is different, but I know we have talent in our defensive front, so there's some guys that can win one-on-one pass rushes, and that's what you need, because if not, then you have to really come all out and blitz people to get pressure on the quarterback. But if you do that, you're getting yourself exposed on the back end, and then those guys have to play coverage for a really, really long time. So, you know, it's obviously pass rush and pass coverage kind of go hand in hand. So, but to have some guys that can generate an individual pass rush, whether it be a 3-man rush or a 4-man rush, and then allow us to stay in coverage is a huge deal for us defensively.
The improvement for the Murphys, in particular Gabriel Murphy this year, what do you attribute that to?
I just think it's year 2, and they're both a year older, and they're a lot more comfortable. And, for all those guys, you know, for Gary, for Darius, for Matu, for Gabe, for Grayson. I think Gabe and Grayson are both playing outstanding right now. The 2 of them are. And they just got, it's like anything. We're all a byproduct of our experiences. The more snaps you get, the better off you're going to be. So, and then those guys all have a real thirst for learning, and they want to get better. They're real students of the game, and they're taking advantage of when they're in and what they do, what they see, what they face, and then how do they make adjustments if what they did on the last play didn't work. You know, how do I problem solve this and change it into something that's positive? And, all those guys are really good at that. No problem.
What was Keegan able to do to, you know, open up the offense for you guys a little bit?
Just try to get him outnumbered a little bit in the run game, get an extra back into the backfield. So, you know, when he motions back in there, it ends up being a 2-back set, you know, as opposed to being a 1-back set. So you gained an extra blocker. I thought Colson Yankoff did a really good job as the extra back and blocking some of those situations. So, just a couple packages that we've had, and we'll continue to experiment and use him in different things, and that's what he is. He's a kind of a Swiss Army knife that can do a lot of different things. We did some of that stuff with Kaz last year. You know, Kaz carried the ball coming out of the slot. Keegan's kind of fallen into that role this year and done a really nice job with it. So, you know, hopefully we can get more production out of him. But I think we will, because he's really talented.
So. Hasn't been to Research since 2015. They had some renovations there. Are you looking forward to seeing what that atmosphere is like?
Yeah, the atmosphere at Research is always awesome. I mean, their fan base is amazing. They've always supported that team. You know, I went there twice when I was at Oregon, and it was always it's a tough place to play. The crowd's really behind their team, and they do a great job. And it's fun. That's what college football is all about. To get to go play in places like this, it'll be a really cool environment for our guys to get a chance to see.
With that Keegan play, I can't remember if you said, was it something in the first half that you showed at first, or was it just those 3 in the second half?
We've run that before, and we ran versions of that in the first half, and that was just another version or iteration of it in the second half. So.
Is there an update on Titus's status?
Titus is unavailable.
You said you were going to go back and look at those 3, the extra point miss, the block, and the other field goal. What were the issues?
They were all individual issues.
Okay.
It's not a combination of one thing or another thing. It was just got to get the snap hold and timing of the kick down on the miss, and then we had a protection issue on one side, but we got that corrected during the game and didn't have an issue there afterwards. So.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
guys,
you.
thanks.